0% service-connected, 0 to 100% disabled veteran is eligible to become a member of the DAB, and we'd love to have you. As you know, most of our members have disabilities, so it's really hard to function as an organization when you've already got a small handicap there. And our auxiliary is all you have to have is be a member of any disabled veteran. Donna has done a lot of great things here. She is a fireball, and we love having her. And here, I'll adjust the mic down for you, and it's all yours.
Hello. I'm Donna DeVille. Somehow they choose me to be a commander of our auxiliary, and it's okay. I can deal with it. With everything else I'm doing, I think I can take care of it. When we first started with our DEVA, we need to have 10 members all at once. 10 to get our charter going. I said, okay, let's see what I can do today. So I went everywhere. I mean everywhere to find that 10 members. And we got it. And now we have 78 members. Wow. And I'm still looking. I'm still looking. And in fact, Tuesday I got 5 people I'm gonna go visit to sign up and see what happens. Thank you for coming over today. This is a very important day to me. My husband is also retired Navy, and actually I don't like talking in a phone. I mean, this comedy. I like talking everybody except in here. It makes me nervous. But I thank you for coming. My husband is retired Navy, 21 years. Our daughter, Dawn, 24 years in the Seabees, and my son-in-law. We're all military people, and I'm proud of it. Very proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. And I'll say Donna is too modest. She is a recruiter and a half. I've never seen anybody with more ambition and fire than she does to get out there. Why you mentioned that too is about getting our charter going. How many charter members in here from the DAB Auxiliary who helped get it started? Our first commander was Sue Jennerman out here. Anyone else? We got Teresa, myself, Leroy, Mark Lasenfelter, Dee Dee, Donna, of course. And so, as you can see, look at we have them here. So it's a great show. So thank you very much, Disabled American Veterans Chapter 33. Next, I would like to bring up VFW Post 2490, Commander Walt Johnson. And, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I told you to come up. All right, I'm sorry. You come on up here, Walt. Sue Gentleman has something that she wants to say, and we're glad to have her. She's been a real fire hitter for all our events here. She's the one that organized getting the food with the DAVA and the VFW Auxiliary. So here she has something to say.
I would like Eric to come up, our county veterans officer, please. I have had questions asked to me from various people. What happens to the money that is donated for the food? I want you to be witness. It goes to our county service officer to help veterans. There was $207 collected today. So that's $207 that goes to him to help our fellow veterans. And I want to thank you all.
Thank you, Sue. My husband, Jim Jennerman, is also a DAV lifetime member, and he's sitting way in the back hiding there. He has also been the financial officer, I believe, for the ABA and helping carry the load there. So recognition to both of them. Thank you very much. Now, Walt, if you would please come on up, and we're anxious to hear about our local VFW post, Veterans of Foreign Wars, and this is post 2490. There is only 2 posts in the county, and Walt is our proud commander.
Well, Dennis said it all. That's about all I had as I'm starting my 7th year as post commander here. And we're doing the same thing as the other groups. We're trying to help all the veterans in the area. When we hear about them, we'll be there to help them. And we have the same problems getting recruits, getting new people. I have no prepared message today, so Dennis, I yield to it.
Another modest man. There's so many things he can share with us. Been a good friend for many years. Thank you all. Appreciate it very much. At this time, I think I've got all of our local posts covered. I would like to bring up another good friend of mine, Mike Kroger. Mike. Mike is the new commander for the Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 5, one of the oldest chapters of the Vietnam Veterans of America, over 100 members. I thought he's going to say that. And
I'm going to have Joe Brock come up.
okay, and here is Mike, our president. So, thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mike Korger from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. I am a United States Marine. I was in the Marine Corps from 68 to 70, Vietnam from 69 to 70. I was, thank God the Lord was looking out for me, and I wound up being a battalion S&C Secret and Confidential Information Courier and Clerk. The morning after I reported to 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines at Anwa Combat Base, I was at 0600 in the morning. I was at the LZ waiting to fly out to deliver radio codes to our 4 infantry companies and our field headquarters company. 2 of my best buddies the next morning were point men for 1st Battalion. So they had to do the protecting, and I was one of the people that had to be protected. Most of the time, not all the time. I had to be out on the defensive perimeter when I and my partner were not going on a courier run someplace. But I'm here to talk about the Vietnam Veterans of America. It is a national nonprofit corporation founded in 1978. And one of our members of the VVA out of Eau Claire, Chapter 5, was one of those pushers to get the VVA started. Unfortunately, he's our immediate past president, and he just passed away. I'm going to have VVA member Joe Brock come up here and talk about him as soon as I am finished here. But his nickname was Bulldog, and he was pretty tenacious, especially with getting new members, of which currently we officially have 139 members, I believe. Where's Joe Lyle?
140, we signed one up today.
Okay. 140. So, but the VBA is the only such organization chartered by the U.S. Congress and dedicated to Vietnam veterans and their families. Their founding principle was mentioned by Dennis earlier, that never again will one generation of veterans abandon another. Luckily, when I came back from Vietnam, I had a warm welcome. Of course, there was still snow and ice on the ground, and I got picked up at the Twin Cities Airport at about 2 in the morning, and when I got home, I got picked up by my mom and dad. I'm the oldest of 11 kids. not all of them could come because they had to have room for me and my gear. And when I got home, there was a spotlight shining on a big banner saying, "Welcome home, Mike," and a flag flying right by it. That picture got put in the La Crosse Tribune. The VBA concentrates on helping veterans, communities, and those serving in harm's way. They help with claims assistance, and have publications, and are very involved in legislative action, as are the other national veterans organizations. The National Council is in Silver Spring, Maryland. The State Council is in West Bend, Wisconsin. There are 27, as far as I can tell, there's 27 active VBA chapters in Wisconsin, including our Chapter 5 in Eau Claire and Chapter 92 in Chippewa Falls. They have, as I understand, they have just a dozen members, and they're not as active as we are out of Eau Claire. Dennis had mentioned the numbers of Vietnam veterans before, and that there is less than 800,000 left. That means 2/3 are gone. And they're almost, when you check the obituaries in the Eau Claire Leader anyway, unfortunately, there's usually 1 or 2 Vietnam veterans that are listed in there. Most of us are in our 60s, especially the late 60s and early 70s. I just turned 70 myself. The immediate past president was 69, was he?
Yes.
Yep, 69. And in the United States, there are 525 chapters, but that includes a couple, Guam and I think Philippines, and 75,000 members approximately, which means we only have 10%. We only have 10% of Vietnam veterans that are still alive. So there's a potential there to get more and more members. The main efforts, or the main effort concerns are government relations, advocacy on veterans issues, National Task Force for Homeless Veterans. They have a National Task Force for homeless veterans. Health care for veterans, including disabled vets, issues pertaining to women and minority veterans. There's a National Scholarship Fund. Our Chapter 5 has 3 scholarships, 2 $500 ones, and we have 4. That's right, we have a new one. We have 2 $500 ones and a $750 nursing scholarship. And how much is the new one?
5.
It's another $500. So because of our fundraising efforts, we're able to expand on that. The National VBA also assists veterans in seeking benefits and services from the government. They organize stand-downs for the hard-to-reach homeless veterans that are in need of service. There are VBAs in 43 states, and they were instrumental in helping get the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, which was dedicated in November of 1982, and they just celebrated the Vietnam Veterans Wall Memorial. Just had their 35th anniversary this last November. Our local Chapter 5, we're very active, and with being there quite a few members, that helps. But there we have taken, there's a Klein Hall in Chippewa Falls that helps veterans in need, especially if they are homeless or if they're in danger of being homeless. They help them get their feet on the ground. We have taken some of those veterans to the House on the Rock, and to a University of Wisconsin Badgers football game. We've helped with paying for some honor flight attendees. We helped Eau Claire County purchase a van. We donated $5,000 towards that. There are funds that were sent up here for the tornado to help with veterans that were affected. We have been doing events in the classroom, Vietnam vets in the classroom at the 3 high schools in Eau Claire, and some of us have branched out on our own. In fact, just recently, I talked to all of the 7th graders at the Augusta High School and to all of the 7th graders at the Longfellow Middle School in the south end of La Crosse, where I have a brother who helps with kids that are that need help. The 3 high schools in Eau Claire North, Eau Claire Memorial, and Regis High School. I've been to Memorial and North, and when we went to North, that turned out really good because we wound up with 2 Laotian Hmong veterans from the Wausau area that helped us present that program to those students. We've been marching in parades, attending fairs. We've been setting up a booth at the fair, and our primary purposes there are to greet all veterans and be a good listener, as one of the previous speakers had mentioned, to be a good listener, especially if you detect something might be wrong. Give out veterans information, sell our annual raffle tickets to help us fund our causes. We give out small American flags and candy to kids that come by, and we've been doing very well at the various fairs. The only problem is we'd like to be to a lot more activities, community activities and fairs, but we have some of our members are putting in a lot of time attending most of those or all of those, and so we need other members to step up. We have our monthly meetings, and we have a chapter monthly newsletter, which if anyone would be interested in seeing one of our monthly newsletters, do you have any with you here today, Joe?
No, I didn't bring any.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
But
Well, we do.
if you're interested, we can do some mailing.
Oh, okay.
I got 4 of them on the table over here.
Oh, you do? Okay. So at our VBA table over there, there's 4 copies of our monthly newsletter, the most recent one. We meet on the first Wednesdays of the month, and forgot what I was going to say.
First Wednesday of the month at 7 o'clock, post 7232, which is on Folsom Avenue. You know where Menards West is in Eau Claire? We're just beyond Menards West.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Let's see. We've been some of the other things that we've been doing. We support the Trinity Equestrian Center that's just outside of Eau Claire, and that helps with the Veterans Wellness Program. And we've helped with the Department of Veterans Affairs with a women's retreat, which is also held there. We have donated and will be donating more funds to the Eau Claire County Veterans Tribute Park. Maybe you've seen some of that advertised on especially Channel 13 at news times. 2 summers ago, we brought a traveling Vietnam wall to Carson Park for a welcome home celebration. And we gave away tickets to attend a free Eau Claire Cavaliers game. We had eats and drinks for all veterans, that they were welcome to do that. That turned out to be pretty good. And there are probably a few other things that I forgot, but we've been very active, and if anybody would like to join us or to help us with any of that, you're very welcome to. Thank you.
We're getting pretty old, but I'll tell you, these guys down there, this is an organization on steroids. They really do a lot in the community. So thank you, Mike. Thank you, Joe.
I forgot.
Joe, do you want to come up now and do that? We have a special tribute here to our past commander, which was very inspirational in building this organization as great as it is. And I'm proud to be a member of it also. So, Joe.
Dennis Wehrlein was 4th Infantry, Vietnam, 69-70. Dennis Wehrlein was 4th Infantry, Vietnam, 1969-1970. He was also one of the charter members of the VVA. When some of you guys came home, other than what the civilians did to you, the Legions and the VFWs, some of the people there had said that Vietnam was a police action, not a war. And it upset some of the people. And so the VVA guys went out and started up their own VVA, and Dennis Wehrlein was one of them that went to Washington, D.C. to petition Congress to start up the VVA. When Dennis was in Vietnam, he was at somewhere around LZ Oasis, halfway between Pleiku and Cambodia. And they got a brand new shiny lieutenant in, and wanted to go for a hike, and took them out, and all of a sudden they're getting shot at by our Hueys. So they called back into Pleiku, our main radio base, and gave the coordinates where they were at, and found out they were in Cambodia. That's why they're getting shot at. So new lieutenants aren't too sharp yet. But anyways, what had happened, that was later on in the afternoon, so what had happened was they had to sneak back into South Vietnam. And I don't know if they were out of water or whatever, but Dennis took a couple of gulps of water out of the Laotian River that runs down through there. And that was about 6 o'clock at night. Well, 1 o'clock in the morning, he passed right out. So then now come back to 2016. Dennis was also commander of our Chapter 5 for quite a few years. So then now in 2016, Dennis found out he had a cyst on his left calf. They had cut out a 3 by 4 or 5 inch by inch thick chunk of skin, and it was melanoma. So he came back, and that was like in May or June, Joe? Somewhere's around there. In September, they found out his cancer got worse. He had a tumor on his stomach, his liver, his spleen, and 2 on the brain. That was in September. He passed away January 27th. And he was boots on ground. He's got the CIB and he's got air medal. So he's got a lot of recons. So he's in a bush all over the place. Could not get Agent Orange benefits because it started out as a melanoma. I don't know what else to say about him. He's a heck of a guy. He was a veteran's veteran. He talked to any veteran about anything. He even got guys to sign up at the Veterans Home in Chippewa to join us. Family man, 8 kids, read at church. Did a lot of stuff down at the high ground for Vietnam veterans events. We did, like Mike said, we do a lot of parades. Every Memorial Day we try and get in the Eau Claire Parade. And I just can't say what a heck of a guy Dennis was. But all you Vietnam veterans are a heck of a guy. What you had to go through. And don't think it ain't appreciated by us other veterans. We can't help what those guys did back, those college students and stuff, but we can praise you now. And thank you for your service. So that's all I got to say about Dennis. You want me to do the high ground railway too? Okay. I do have books over here on Agent Orange. And I also got, if you want to join Vietnam Veterans of America, I also got forms for that over at the table.
Joe's another fireball. He's always on the ball. He's got his hands on more projects and the Card Scout never bills. One of the things that he mentioned about Dennis for the first 7 years that we had the Vietnam veterans thing, Dennis was one of the men here doing the color guards as our Vietnam veterans of combat, our war veterans.
We've got a little memorial right over here on Dennis.
Yes, there's a memorial over there by the wall. And you'll hear again from Joe Graff here in a little bit. Joe's going to be speaking on the high grounds. But right now, thank you. I can't say enough about the VMA Chapter 5. They've really been very supportive in helping this come about up here too. So thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Joe. And the other Joe, thank you guys. At this time, I want to move on